Hi everyone, I wanted to show you some visuals that accompanied some of the demo speeches in my class. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to get the benefit of seeing how the student presented the visuals. And of course, you as the speaker will have to process what you showed to the audience. But this does give you an idea of what makes good topics for this speech and what some good visuals look like. Now, Cielo did a speech on how to have a quinceañera, which of course is the coming of age party for 15-year-old girls in the Hispanic community. And so her first slide is she showed a meme. Now, again, this meme was appropriate because Cielo is Hispanic and she's from Mexico. Naturally, I could not show a meme like this. I would just come across as ignorant, but this was in Cielo's speech, so it was certainly appropriate. But you do want to think about those things, the appropriateness of the visual. In her speech, she talked about how you want to make sure to plan a day for your quinceañera. You want to make sure that you've budgeted for this really big party. She talked about how you need to think of the venue. You'll want to think of the color scheme of the venue. And then she said other details you have to think about is the dress. She said that big, elaborate dresses are often desirable. And she talked about how your dress often matches the colors of your venue. So when you go to look at her presentation later, you can see that she chose a lavender dress and a lot of her decorations were lavender. Again, she had some fun memes spread throughout the presentation. And so she went on to talk to us about how every little detail counts. And I'm not going to go through this entire speech, but there you can see the lavender again. And she talked about how lavender, of course, was her color, and she put that throughout. But this was a good visual how-to speech for planning a quinceañera. And I will post this on my page, and you can take a look at her speech. A good, straightforward demonstrative speech. Now, this was another straightforward speech. The student runs a college news show here at Nash Community. So he talked about how to get involved and how to run your own college news show. And he did have some videos. And he talked about some things you will need. Often in how-to speeches, you'll want to show things you need. He talked about the camera, the lighting, what they have to use to edit footage. He talked about the preparation that goes behind various news stories. He showed us some videos. There is Xavier, and this was his speech showing us how he gets ready for his news show. He talked about delivery and what you have to think about when you're on the air. He did have a video here that he showed us, and his videos were really good. And then he ended his speech showing us bloopers from his news show. So again, a good straightforward how-to. Now, I had some students get creative. May, and let me get to the beginning of her presentation, May did a speech on how to be a stereotypical Asian. Now, May is Asian, so she can do this. Again, be thoughtful here. I cannot do this speech. That would come across as just completely ignorant. But May just decided to have fun with giving us a little bit of a cultural lesson, but having some fun as well. So she talked about how in Asian culture, you are expected to take off your shoes before you enter someone's home. And she found a great meme here. I do want to give you a lesson quickly about when you use a meme or when you have visuals with words. give us a chance to process it. So you're going to want to say, here this meme says, extended family comes over, takes half hour for everyone to find their shoes after dinner, hashtag Asian Thanksgiving. Again, she needs to tell us what this meme says, because if she just clicks and moves forward, we don't get to appreciate this thoughtful visual. So keep that in mind when you're presenting your visuals. She talked about how there are right and wrong ways to use chopsticks properly. She talked about how you're supposed to refuse gifts, respect your elders. She talked about how there is that expectation to make perfect grades, and she had some fabulous memes here. I love this grading scale where she says A equals average, B bad, C catastrophic, D disowned, F forgotten forever. And I love this visual here. So again, this is a fun speech. Have fun with these visuals. There's a lot of great stuff out there. She talked about how you're really not allowed to date, but then everyone asks her when she's going to get married. And then she talked about how rice and noodles, it's just the key, a food staple. She talked about how you have to love seafood even when you don't know what something is. And of course, she's processing this speech and delivering it as a how-to speech, and these are the visuals that she's showing while she's delivering this. A really fun speech. Let's see. This one was a fun speech. This was a student who worked as an assistant manager, and she talked about how to deal with different kinds of customers. She said she couldn't count how many times someone came up to her and said, "There's no price tag. Oh, it must be free." And they would laugh at that joke. And she said that was her screaming internally or clenching her fists. And again, she just had some memes to talk about her experience. If you're showing these, make sure you process them for your audience. So this is a good speech that I'll upload as well, so you can take a look at some of her visuals. So she got creative, as did May, with looking at some of her cultural aspects. Let me get back into my class. I'm going to open these up so they're visible to you guys. I've had all kinds of speeches. Another cultural opportunity, and let me open this one up. This student did a great job. She decided to give us a little cultural lesson on being Middle Eastern. And again, she was a Middle Eastern student, so this worked really well. Now, if I was not Middle Eastern, I cannot do this speech. Again, we've talked about those reasons why. So she said for her attention getter, a lot of times she may picture a person from the Middle East looking like this, or driving your taxi, or she said you may think of them as owning all of the convenience stores around the corner, or if you watch Fox News, the person may look like this or this. But then she went on to kind of dispel some of these stereotypical myths affiliated with her culture. She talked about 3 things in this speech: physical features, culture, and personalities. A really clever speech. She tackled some of these stereotypes in a really lighthearted way, and she did a great job here. So you'll get to look at that speech as well. This one was how to stay married for 72 days, like Kim Kardashian did. So kind of a little spoof. But then this was a straightforward speech on how to make a duck call. This was a straightforward speech on how to clean spills. Whereas this speech, How to Be a Lady, she was actually making fun of some advice she found from the 1950s on how to be a lady, and she kind of spoofed it. So this is an opportunity to have fun. You can show us a straightforward process, or you can spoof something. Do that how-to that is a little quirky, a little creative. I've had how to stalk your crush on Facebook. Just all kinds of how to be the world's best procrastinator. Anything goes here. I've had how to be the best UNC fan. Anything goes here. So make this work for you and your personality. I'll be showing you how to create your outlines for this speech soon.